Okay, we are now live and on the record for Tuesday afternoon's criminal docket, February 8th, 2022. And I'll start with quick announcements. Please make sure that you have your docket number with you as well. Okay, Ms. Cantu del Bosque.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have number 34 on the criminal docket.
Okay, that's CR 20-01567-I. Kevin Reina. Is Mr. Reina present?
Your Honor, I couldn't see whether he was one of the ones that was trying to log in or not.
Kevin Reina.
Doesn't look like he's responding, Judge.
Which one is he?
It doesn't look like he's responding.
I know, but is he on camera?
I'm not sure, Judge. I can't tell whether he is or not. I can go ahead and wait, Judge, for him to log in.
Well, if you have an announcement, he has until the end of the docket to come on. If he doesn't, then I'll NISI him.
Okay, Judge, on this particular case, again, we're just needing a short reset to get him signed up for the POM PTD. I did learn today that we can do it electronically. Judge, he's bouncing around the state with his employment, so we've had a hard time trying to get the paperwork to him.
Okay, well, he's been trying to do this since June, and
Yes,
I know
Judge.
that that's on him. So this is going to be the final reset that I'm going to give him.
Okay,
So he's in, I'm going to go ahead and give you some time to get that done and submitted.
okay.
And that'll be April the 7th, and that's more than enough time.
Yes, Your Honor. What time?
1:30.
Very well. And I'll get him on here for his presentment, Judge.
Okay, and if he has until the end of the docket. If he doesn't come on, then we'll NISI him.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. That's
Okay,
all I have
thank
before
you.
this honorable court may be excused.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Likewise. Okay, Mr. Hernandez?
Good afternoon, Judge. I have numbers 6 and 7 on your criminal docket. It's a jail case. State of
Yeah,
Texas,
20
David Castillo.
Okay, CR 21-05366-I, CR 21-05367-I. State of Texas versus David Castillo. Deputy, can you please bring David Castillo forward? Is he English speaking or Spanish speaking?
English, Your Honor.
All right, and what is your announcement, counselor?
Your Honor, he has some outstanding cases in the 430th District Court. He's currently set for February 23rd for statuses on those cases. I've met with David a few times. We're still in the process of trying to figure out what we're going to do with these cases, but it looks like on the felonies, at least, we may have to go to trial. I don't expect this to be done by February 23rd unless something drastically changes on the negotiating side.
Okay, then go ahead and come back on March the 10th at 1:30.
That's fine, Your Honor. And if something happens before then, I'll inform the court.
Yes, please do.
That concludes my business, Your Honor. May I be excused?
You certainly may.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mr. Castillo is also excused. All right, Mr. Osuna?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jose Osuna for the record. We have number 3 on the court's docket, CR 21-13809I, State of Texas versus Erasmo Anzaldúa. We did have an opportunity to dispose of this case. I was a bit concerned when I saw him show up on the docket. So I looked at the paperwork and it looks in order. It was a bona fide time served. He did at one point have a detainer from parole. That detainer has been lifted. So I suspect that he was revoked and they're waiting for him to get sent up to TDC. But I suppose that we can inquire from Mr. Anzaldúa if there's been any changes in his parole situation. I just want to make sure that the detainer isn't coming from my failure and then he just keeps getting set and we're assuming it was a blue warrant.
Okay, well, before we hear from that, Mr. Lozano, what do you have Mr. Anzaldúa set for today?
Your Honor, it should be a status, if anything. He pled guilty on January 24th, 2022.
Okay, Mr. Anzaldúa, did you need to tell the court anything with respect to your current situation?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Mr. Osuna, did you need to, go
Yes,
ahead and
Your
ask Mr. Anzaldúa so you can clarify it for him?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Antalua, were you revoked on the parole side?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're heading to TDC?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, so then there's nothing further to do for Mr. Anzaldúa in our court today.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Anzaldúa, then you're excused, sir. Okay, best of luck. And you do have Ms. Diaz set up for a plea, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. We have
Okay,
4, please.
all right, we'll get to that right now. All right, any other quick announcements before we start taking the pleas?
Oh, one more, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
So that one is number 18 and number 19. Those are CR 20-01047I and CR 20-01048I, State of Texas versus Waylon Everett Nichols. Mr. Nichols has a felony, and it is set for March 30th, 2022. So we're just asking for setting after that date.
Okay, Deputy, do you have Mr. Nichols present?
Yes, Judge, he's present.
Okay, then we can come back on April the 7th at 1:30.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, Mr. Nichols, we'll see you then, sir. All right, Mr. Palacios?
Good afternoon, Judge Sonny Palacios for Mr. Rios on number 2122 in your docket. Judge, we're present ready for arraignment.
Okay, CR 22-01013-I, CR 22-01014-I. Alfonso Adame Rios III, is Mr. Rios present?
Judge, he notifies that he was in the waiting room.
I see an Alfonso Rios on my screen, but he doesn't have his audio or his, Mr. Rios, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I don't know if you can see me or what. I can hear you. I can see you.
No, can you turn on your camera, please?
I'm clicking on it.
On the bottom of your phone, do you see that video camera?
Yeah, I clicked on it, but it's not I don't know why it's not opening, or I keep clicking on it.
If you're driving, disconnect it from your car. I don't know if you're driving.
No, I left work to I'm here at home right now, but I'm trying. I'm clicking on it. I see it. It says starts video, and it says share with a hand, and I don't see myself or.
Okay, go ahead and raise your right hand and I'm going to take you at your word, sir. Do you
Yes, ma'am.
swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, lower your hand. In CR 22-01013-I and CR 22-01014-I, State of Texas versus Alfonso Adame Rios III, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, here before the court charged with possession of controlled substance, penalty group 3 of less than 28 grams, a class A misdemeanor, and a resisting arrest, search, or transport, also a class A misdemeanor. A class A misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 1 year in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand that range of punishment, sir, that you can receive for the offenses of which you are charged?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane?
No, ma'am.
Counselor, in speaking with your client, do you find him to be mentally competent and able to assist you in his own defense?
Mr. Rios is competent, Your Honor.
The court will make a finding that the defendant is mentally competent and able to assist their attorney in their own defense and enters a plea of not guilty on his behalf on each of these charges. Mr.
Thank you.
Palacios, how much time do you need?
Judge, there are some pending felonies out of the same transaction, so we can have maybe 45, 60 days, see where the status on those cases are.
Okay, he's going to be set for status on April the 7th at 9:30.
Thank you, Judge. And their discovery is ongoing. We have received portion but it's still ongoing, Judge.
Okay,
Things are moving steadily.
all right. Anything else, sir?
Nothing for defense, Judge.
Okay, all right, Mr. Rios, then we'll see you back here on April the 7th at 9:30. You will not receive any additional notice.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have
Okay.
nothing further before this honorable court. Might be excused.
Yes, sir, you may.
Judge, y'all.
Thank you. Ms. Coronado?
Good afternoon, Judge. I have number 1 on your docket for an arraignment. He is a Spanish speaker.
Okay, Carlos Alfredo Ramirez? Is Mr. Ramirez present?
Judge, I know they called that they were having difficulty getting in, but then they told me they were in. but
Is
I
that
don't
the
know if-
gentleman with his wife? They've been trying to connect to audio. They even
Probably,
got a
yes,
pair of
Judge.
headsets.
That's probably them, Judge.
Does he have a device
but-
already?
Yes, Judge, he does.
Okay, who does he have his device with?
Let's see, Judge, he told me it was with American Interlock.
Okay. Do you have a phone number for him?
Yes, I do, Judge.
Okay, what's his phone number?
It's 956-591-3205.
Okay. I don't think they're gonna be able to connect to audio. They're trying everything that they can. So what I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to do, Ms. Coronado, because he does have already an interlock device, please submit, I'll allow you to do a waiver of arraignment and attach the proof of his device.
Okay, Judge.
And then just get that
Alright.
filed with us as soon as possible. And that way you can call him and tell him that he can get off because they haven't been able to get on.
Okay, Judge, I will. Thank you. And then I
Okay.
have a plea, when the court is ready.
Okay, I'm almost there.
Thank- Thank you,
Okay,
Judge.
thank you. Any other quick announcements before we get to the pleas? Okay, the gentleman that is in that is LG Stylo 6 with the blue shirt. Yes, sir, you. Yes, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir, I'm gonna need for you to pull over and not be driving during the
No, I'm not
court
driving,
session.
ma'am.
Okay, just
Yes, ma'am.
making sure.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's go ahead and Mr. Osuna, you have Jorge Martinez, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's on a motion to revoke?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, I was just gonna say, Your Honor, I didn't receive the plea paperwork from indigent until 4:45, so I scrambled, but I wasn't able to get it to Mr. Lozano and Mr. Sosa till a little after 5, so it wasn't filed till this morning.
Okay, well, Mr. Lozano did represent to the court that it was ready to go.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the revocations first. So let me, Deputy, can you please bring up Jorge Martinez? And also Cesar Cano. Mr. Hernandez, can you hear me? Attorney Eloy Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon. We're gonna go ahead and take up your revocation.
Yes, Your Honor. My client also has another pending TWI as well, Your Honor.
Oh, he's going to plea on that DWI?
Yes, Your Honor. He's pleading on the revocation and on the DWI, Your Honor. And just for the court's information, we're set for a plea in the 206 on Monday on his felony case, but they asked us to dispose of these prior to the felony plea.
Okay. And Mr. Cano and Mr. Martinez, are you both English speaking? All right, I need you to raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, lower your hands. In CR 1804796-I and CR 20-08230-I, State of Texas versus Cesar Alberto Cano, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, ma'am.
In CR 1909830-I and CR 20-01131-I, State of Texas versus Jorge Martinez, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Cano, you are before the court charged with theft of property of greater or equal to $100, but less than $750. That's a Class B misdemeanor. And for driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor as well. Mr. Martinez, you're here before the court on driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor, and a possession of controlled substance penalty group 2A of less or equal than 2 ounces, and that's a Class B misdemeanor. However, Mr. Cano, on your theft of property, since you had already been placed on probation, that is the one that the motion to revoke is on. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Martinez, on both the DWI and on your possession of controlled substance penalty group 2A, you have been previously placed on probation, and that is what your motion to revoke is on today. Do you understand that, sir? You both have a right to an attorney and the right to a trial by jury. You can waive one or both of those rights by signing a written document. Did you have an opportunity to review that document, Mr. Cano
Yes.
and Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you all understand that when you signed it, you were waiving your right to a trial by jury, Mr. Cano
Yes.
and Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
Then the court will accept the waiver of trial by jury. Gentlemen, has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez
No, ma'am.
and Mr. Cano?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And counselors, in speaking with your clients, do you find them to be mentally competent and able to assist you in their own defense? Mr. Hernandez
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Cano is competent on both cases.
and Mr. Osuna?
Mr. Martinez is competent, Your Honor.
Okay, and then the court will make a finding that these defendants are competent and able to assist their attorney in their own defense. Do you each understand that if the punishment I assess does not exceed what's recommended by the state, you'll need the court's permission to file an appeal? Mr. Cano, yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Martinez, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you further understand that I do not have to accept the state's recommendation? Mr. Cano, yes or no?
Yes.
And Mr. Martinez, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this time, I need to ask you, are you a U.S. citizen, Mr. Cano?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Martinez, are you a U.S. citizen?
Ma'am.
NCR 1804796-I, State of Texas versus Cesar Albert Cano. Do you plead true or not true, sir?
True.
NCR 208230-I, State of Texas versus Cesar Albert Cano for driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
NCR 1909830-I, State of Texas versus Jorge Martinez. Do you plead true or not true?
True.
On CR 201131-I, State of Texas versus Jorge Martinez. Do you plead true or not true?
True.
And
Your
are
Honor. I'm sorry, Your Honor. May I offer a point of clarification, please?
yes.
Yes, Your Honor. In order to just not unduly prejudice my client, we did execute plea paperwork where we pled true to certain allegations and not others. In CR 20-01131I, we are pleading true to 1, 1B, 8, 8A, 8B, 11, 16, and 19A. In CR 19-09830I, we are pleading true to 1 and 1A. However, there's a typo in the paperwork, and 1A refers to both a new offense, which is an assault, and a new offense, which is an accident. We are denying the assault. We are pleading true to the accident. And then 1B, 8B, and 30.
Okay, so is that the paperwork that you signed off and returned to the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Lozano, is that your understanding that Mr. Martinez is pleading true to those
Violations? Yes, Your Honor.
violations that Mr. Osuna put on the record?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then the court will take notice that only those violations that were placed on the record are the ones that Mr. Martinez is pleading true to. Okay? All right. So, Mr. Cano, are you pleading true freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And Mr. Martinez, to the violations that you have pled true on, are you pleading freely and voluntarily?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then the court will accept your pleas as being freely and voluntarily given. All right. I will call for state's evidence at this time.
Your Honor, state offers waiver of rights, consent to stipulation of evidence, and plea of true to state's motion to revoke. As State's Exhibit 1, state also requested the defendant stipulate that they were the same defendants who were previously placed on probation.
Okay. Any
Your Honor.
objections?
Your Honor, as to Mr. Cano, we have no objections to the state's exhibits. We so agree and stipulate to venue and jurisdiction. This honorable court also that he's the same individual previously placed on probation as alleged in his motion to revoke.
Same announcement for Mr. Martinez, Your Honor.
Okay, then there being no objections from defense counsel as to the exhibits are hereby admitted and approved. The court does find that in CR 1804796-I, the defendant Cesar Alberto Cano is the same defendant that violated his probation and is the one that had those violations as pled true today. So what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, on CR 1804796-I, theft of property, state recommends a $100 fine, court cost, 42 days, Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 42.
Okay.
Mr. Damian, are you looking at the screen, sir?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Mr. Alvarez, yes, thank you.
Mr. Alvarez. Alberto Alvarez. Sir, you need to stay awake or you need to shut off your camera until your case is called.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And so that was, I'm sorry, that was $100 fine plus court costs plus 42 days in Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 42?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And on his CR 2008230-I?
The state recommends a $100 fine, court cost, 3 days, Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 3.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, we would respectfully ask the court to consider waiving the fine and court costs on both matters, Your Honor. Just for the court's information, he does have a felony pending in the 206. We are set for a plea on Monday. And that recommendation in that court is going to be for 1 year state jail, Your Honor. So he will continue serving additional time as well.
Okay, that'll be granted. Fine and court
Thank you,
costs are waived. And the rest
you,
of the
Honor.
recommendation I will follow. All right,
you, Judge.
anything else on Mr. Cano?
No, Your Honor, that's all that we have. May we be excused?
You certainly may. Mr. Cano, you are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stay safe,
Okay,
Your Honor.
and on Mr. Martinez, the court does find that he is the same individual that violated his probation as set forth in the terms that he has also signed and testified to on the record. And what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, on CR 1909830-I, driving while intoxicated, the state recommends a $100 fine, court cost, 18 days, Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 18. On CR 20-01131-I, possession of controlled substance, the state recommends a $100 fine, court cost, 23 days, Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 23.
Okay, Mr. Osuna, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, we would just humbly ask for consideration on the fines and court costs in light of the jail time that he spent on these cases.
Okay, that'll be granted. His fines and court costs will be waived. The rest of the recommendation I will follow.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else?
No, Your Honor. Mr. Martinez also has some companion cases, Your Honor, but they aren't MTRs. They're just regular ones. So we'll stand by for those.
Okay, that's right.
Yes, Your
Honor. Okay, then now I'm gonna go ahead and call the ones that, for the attorneys that are present. Ms. Coronado, which case do you have?
Judge, good afternoon. I have number 26, I believe is on your docket. And I believe, Judge, that it may be that couple that you're saying that can't get audio.
Oh, so then your other client didn't show up?
Yes, he was there too, Judge, but I.
Oh, okay, but you're gonna turn in the waiver of arraignment, correct?
Yes, Judge, on that one I am.
Okay, so on your client, Julian Granados, they still haven't been able to connect.
Yes, Judge, and I asked him to log off and try again, but for some reason they're saying they've got the screen, the audio, I mean, the video, but not the audio.
Señor Granados, ¿me escucha?
Sí, ya.
Oh, they got it, okay.
Ya le contesto, sí.
Okay.
Ya lo oigo.
He's a Spanish speaker, Judge.
All right, got it. Let me mark him. Okay. Bueno, no se vaya, okay?
Okay.
All right, and let me see. Mr. Osuna, you have Brandy Diaz?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Brandy, are you present?
Yes, I'm here, Judge.
Okay, make sure that you keep your screen on and your mic, you're unmuted, okay?
Okay.
All right, let me see. Mr. Ramos?
Good morning, Judge. Number 23?
Okay, Leroy Coronado, is Mr. Coronado present?
He is, Judge.
Yes, I'm present.
Okay, perfect. Make sure you keep your video on and your microphone on, okay? Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, who do you have?
Yes, Judge, I have Daniel Pequeño.
Okay, that's number 31 and number 32. Is Mr. Pequeño present?
Yes, ma'am. I just need him to unmute.
Okay, here, yeah.
Okay, make sure you stay like that, okay?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Moreno, who do you have?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I got number 35, Maria Rios.
Okay,
And she's
And
present on Zoom.
okay, and she's for PTD placement, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Maria Rios, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Judge.
Okay, please make sure to put your camera on. Thank you. All right, and do we have any other attorneys that are present? Mr. Munoz, Jorge Munoz?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, sir, and which ones are yours, sir?
Judge, I actually have a plea on Francisco Munoz, Judge. He should be on the Zoom.
Okay, that's number 30. Francisco Munoz, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, please turn your camera on.
I'm right here. My camera's just shattered.
Yes, I can tell. Okay, just make sure that you stay on and that I can hear you. Stay unmuted, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody else here, any other attorney here that I may have missed that has their client present?
Your Honor, we were able to add 2 more cases to the docket that we were able to sort out. Those are number 22, State of Texas versus Alberto Alvarez, CR 21-10422I. And Mr. Alvarez is present under his own name. And then we also have number 27, State of Texas versus Adrian Gerardo Guerra, CR 18-04458I. And I think Mr. Guerra is under Galaxy A12. Can you confirm that, Mr. Guerra? He nodded yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Alberto, is it Alberto or Albero?
Alberto, Your Honor.
Okay, Alberto Alvarez, can you hear me?
Will you require a Spanish speaker?
Okay, he needs Spanish?
I think so, Your Honor. Señor Alvarez, ¿necesita que te traducen?
Sí.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then, Mr. Lozano, do you have number 27 ready on your end?
Yes, Your Honor. Number 27 is ready. The case that's actually ready is CR 18-04459I. It's not on the docket. It's a fail to ID.
Okay, so you're wanting to add it on?
If possible, Your Honor, and I think that was my mistake, but they are companion cases. It was going to be plea 1, dismiss 1.
So we're dismissing CR 1804458-I?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Guerra, Adrian Guerra, can you hear me?
Unmute yourself, Mr. Guerra, please.
You need to unmute yourself, Mr. Guerra. Hit the microphone.
I think he kicked himself out.
Mr. Guerra, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Stay like that, okay? All right. Any other case that's ready? Okay, then let's go ahead and get started. Ms. Castaneda, we have 2 Spanish speakers, which are number 22 and number 26, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, please raise your right hand. If I called out your name, please raise your right hand. Ms.
Por favor,
Castaneda,
levanten su mano derecha.
do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Ms. Castaneda?
Jura que el testimonio que está a punto de dar es la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
Mr. Alvarez, yes or no?
Señor Álvarez, sí o no?
Sí.
Yes.
Mr. Granados, yes or no?
Señor Granados, sí o no?
Sí, yes.
Yes.
Okay, everyone can lower their hands.
¿Pueden
Okay,
bajar su mano?
Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Green.
Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Brandy Diaz,
Yes.
Adrian Guerra,
Yes, Your Honor.
Francisco Munoz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Daniel Pequeño,
Yes, Judge.
and Maria Rios.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, Judge.
thank you. In CR 21-10422-I, State of Texas versus Alberto Alvarez, is that your true and correct name, sir?
En el estado de Texas en contra Alberto Álvarez, ¿ese es su nombre correcto y verdadero? Señor Álvarez.
He needs to unmute himself. And tell him to stay unmuted, please.
Señor Álvarez, ¿puede prender su micrófono? Señor Álvarez, ¿puede prender su micrófono?
Sí.
Déjelo prendido, por favor. En el
Is this
estado
true
de
and
Texas
correct
se
name?
encuentra Alberto Álvarez, ¿ese es su nombre correcto y verdadero?
Sí.
Yes.
He's being charged with violation of bond or protective order, a Class A misdemeanor. And I'll explain shortly what that means.
Está usted frente a la corte por una violación de fianza o orden de protección. En un momentito le explico la ofensa, la ofensa para una ofensa de un delito menor clase A.
Sí.
Yes.
In CR 20-9369-I, State of Texas versus Julian Jaime Granados, is that his true and correct name?
En el estado de Texas en contra Julián Jaime Granados, ¿ese es su nombre correcto y verdadero?
Sí, señor. Sí.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And he
ma'am.
is being charged with driving while intoxicated second, a Class A misdemeanor, and I'll explain shortly what that is.
Está usted frente a la corte por un delito de manejar en estado de ebriedad segunda, una ofensa menor clase A, y en un momentito le voy a explicar la ofensa.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. In CR 21-06292-I, State of Texas versus Leroy Coronado, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're being charged with driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol level of greater or equal to 0.15, a Class A misdemeanor. And I'll explain shortly what that is. In CR 20-05083-I, State of Texas versus Brandy Diaz, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's Brandy, Brandie, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're being charged with possession of marijuana of less than 2 ounces. And that's a Class B misdemeanor. In CR 18-04459-I, State of Texas versus Adrian Gerardo Guerra, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're being charged with failure to identify, a Class B misdemeanor.
Yes.
In CR 19-15554-I, State of Texas versus Francisco Javier Munoz, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're being charged with assault causing bodily injury, a Class A misdemeanor. In CR 21-11016-I, CR 20-01278-I, State of Texas versus Daniel Iran Pequeño, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, Judge.
And you're being charged with duty on striking fixture or highway landscape of greater or equal to $200, a Class B misdemeanor. And also a theft of property of greater or equal to $100, but less than $750, a Class B misdemeanor. In CR 20-04703-I, State of Texas versus Maria Elisa, Elisa Rios, is that your true and correct name?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Judge.
And you're being charged with theft of property of greater than or equal to $100, but less than $750. And that's a Class B misdemeanor.
Not guilty.
Okay, hold on. If you're being charged with a Class B misdemeanor that carries a potential penalty of up to 1 year, 6 months in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. If you are being charged with a Class A misdemeanor that carries a potential penalty of up to 1 year in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine upon conviction. Ms. Castaneda, will you please translate for Mr. Alvarez and Mr. Granados the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor?
Una ofensa menor clase A tiene una multa potencial de hasta 1 año en la cárcel del condado de Hidalgo y hasta una multa de hasta $4,000 por convicción.
Okay, do you understand the range of punishment that you can receive, sir, for the offense of which you are charged? Ms. Castaneda?
Mr. Álvarez y Mr. Granados, ¿entiende usted el rango de castigo que puede recibir por los delitos que están acusados?
Sí, entiendo, sí.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Alvarez answered yes and Mr. Granados answered yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Coronado, yes or no? Do you understand the range of punishment, sir, that you can receive for the offense of which you are charged, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You all need to answer quickly or I'm gonna skip over you and you're gonna go back to the end. So please stay unmuted and in a quiet area. Ms. Diaz, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Guerra, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Pequeño, yes or no?
Yes.
And Ms. Rios, yes or no?
Yes.
All of you have the right to an attorney and the right to a trial by jury. You can waive one or both of those rights by signing a written document with this court. At this time, I'm going to ask you if you had an opportunity to review that document with your attorney before signing it. Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Guerra?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Mr. Pequeño?
Yes.
Ms. Rios?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Castaneda, please translate.
Okay. Tienen el derecho de un abogado y el derecho para un juicio por jurado, pero pueden renunciar a uno o a dos de sus derechos firmando un documento con nuestra corte. ¿Tuvieron ustedes una oportunidad de revisar esos documentos con su abogado antes de firmar?
Okay. Mr. Alvarez?
Señor
Sí.
Álvarez? Yes.
Mr. Granados?
Señor Granados?
Yes.
And did you understand when you signed that document that you were waiving your right to a trial by jury? Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Guerra?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Mr. Pequeño?
Yes.
And Ms. Rios?
Yes,
Ms.
Judge.
Castaneda?
Cada uno de ustedes entiende que cuando firman ese documento que están renunciando a su derecho de un juicio por jurado. Mr. Álvarez?
Sí.
Yes. Mr. Granados?
Yes.
The court will accept your waiver of trial by jury. Has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane? Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
No.
Ms. Diaz?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Guerra?
No.
Mr. Munoz?
No.
Mr. Pequeño?
No, Judge.
Ms. Rios?
No, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Castañeda?
¿Alguna corte los ha declarado mentalmente incompetente, loco o demente? Mr. Álvarez?
No.
No. Mr. Granados?
No.
No.
Counselors, in speaking with your clients, do you find them to be mentally competent and able to assist you in their own defense? Mr. Osuna?
Mr. Alvarez is competent, Your Honor. Ms. Diaz is competent. And Mr. Guerra is competent, Your Honor.
Mr. Ramos?
Mr. Coronado is competent, Your Honor.
Ms. Coronado?
Mr. Granados is competent.
Mr. Munoz?
Mr. Munoz is competent, Judge.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Mr. Pequeño is competent, Judge.
And Mr. Moreno?
Same announcement for Ms. Rios.
Okay. Then the court will make a finding that all the defendants before the court are mentally competent and able to assist their attorneys in their own defense. Do each of you further understand that if the punishment that I assess does not exceed what's recommended by the state, you will need this court's permission to file an appeal? Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guerra,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Munoz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pequeño,
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Rios.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and Ms. Castañeda, please translate.
Que cada uno de ustedes entiende que si el castigo que voy a evaluar, si el castigo no excede la recomendación del Estado, ustedes van a necesitar el permiso de esta corte si deciden presentar una apelación. ¿Entiende eso, sí o no, Mr. Álvarez?
Sí.
Yes. Señor Granados.
Yes.
Do you further understand that the court does not have to accept the state's recommendation? Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guerra,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Munoz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pequeño,
Yes.
and Ms. Rios.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Castañeda?
También entiende que la corte no tiene que aceptar la recomendación del Estado. Mr. Álvarez.
Sí.
Yes. Mr. Granados.
¿Qué cosa?
Yes. Sí, bien.
Okay, at this time, I need to ask you if you're a U.S. citizen. Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Guerra,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Munoz,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pequeño,
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Ms. Rios, I'm sorry,
Yes, Judge.
and Ms. Castañeda, please.
Mr. Álvarez, ¿es usted ciudadano americano?
No.
No. Mr. Granados, ¿es usted ciudadano americano?
No, tengo residencia.
No, I have a residency card.
Okay, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then entering a plea or no contest will result in your deportation, exclusion, or admission from our country and denial of naturalization under U.S. federal law. Do you understand the consequences of your plea today? Ms. Castañeda?
Si no es ciudadano americano, entonces esta petición va a resultar en su deportación, expulsión de este país y negación de la naturalización. ¿Entiende usted las consecuencias de su petición?
Sí, entiendo.
Mr. Granados, yes, I understand. Mr. Álvarez?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, and do you still want to proceed today?
¿Y quieren proceder hoy? Mr. Álvarez?
¿Qué quiere proceder? No lo entiendo.
No entiendo lo que quieren decir con proceder.
Ándale, ya ves.
I don't understand what it means to proceed.
Does he want to proceed with his plea today to conclude his case?
Señor Álvarez, si quiere proceder con su petición hoy para terminar su caso.
Bueno, si me ve todo lo que ustedes están diciendo que me pueden deportar o algo de eso, yo voy a tener que agarrar un abogado.
With what you're saying that they're going to deport me, I'm going to have to get an attorney.
Ms. Coronado, do you want an opportunity to speak to Mr. Granados?
I believe that was my client, Your Honor.
Oh, it was Mr. Alvarez that said
That
that?
was Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
That was-
Yes,
Oh,
Your Honor.
I'm
And
sorry, Mr. Osuna.
we've had this particular discussion various times, Your Honor. I think the proper course of action is if he's gonna fire me, he can hire somebody. Otherwise, I'll just set up for trial.
Okay, so do you want an opportunity to talk to Mr. Alvarez?
I suspect at this point it will be futile, Your Honor. We have had this conversation on various occasions at length. So I think he's not incompetent. So I think I would just have to set it for trial. And then in the interim, he wants to hire an attorney. Well, he can hire an attorney.
Okay, then go ahead and file an order setting jury trial
Yes, Your Honor.
and we'll get that set for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Castaneda, please let Mr. Alvarez know that his attorney will be in contact with him, but, and he is excused. He can remove himself.
Okay, señor Álvarez, su abogado va a estar en contacto con usted y ya se puede retirar.
Bien. Gracias.
Thank you.
All right. NCR 21-06292-I, State of Texas versus Leroy Coronado to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol level of greater or equal to 0.15, a Class A misdemeanor, sir. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
NCR 20-508-3-I, State of Texas versus Brandy Diaz, to the offense of possession of marijuana of less than 2 ounces, a Class B misdemeanor. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
NCR 20-09369-I, State of Texas versus Julian Jaime Granados, to driving while intoxicated second, a Class A misdemeanor. How do you plead? Guilty or not guilty?
En el estado de Texas contra Julián Jaime Granados por un cargo de manejar en estado de ebriedad. Segunda, una ofensa menor clase A. ¿Cómo se declara? ¿Culpable o no culpable?
Culpable.
Guilty.
NCR 1804459-I, the State of Texas versus Adrian Gerardo Guerra, to the offense of failure to identify. How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
NCR 1915554-I, State of Texas versus Francisco Javier Munoz, to the offense of assault causing bodily injury, a Class A misdemeanor. How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
NCR 21-11016-I and NCR 20-01278-I, the State of Texas versus Daniel Iran Pequeño, to the offense of duty on striking fixture highway of landscape of less than $200, a Class B misdemeanor, and theft of property of less or equal to $100 but greater than $750, a Class B misdemeanor. How do you plead on each of those offenses, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty on both.
And CR 20-4703-I, State of Texas versus Maria Elisa Rios, to the offense of theft of property of less than or equal to $100 but greater than $750, a Class B misdemeanor. How do you plead, ma'am? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Okay. The court, and are you all pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes.
Ms. Diaz?
Yes.
Mr. Guerra?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Mr. Pequeño?
Yes.
Ms. Rios?
Yes, Judge.
And Ms. Castañeda, please translate for Mr. Granados.
Señor Granados, ¿está usted declarando culpable libre y voluntariamente?
Yes. Sí.
Yes.
Then the court will accept your pleas as being freely and voluntarily given. I will call for state's evidence at this time.
Your Honor, state offers plea documents and offense reports as State's Exhibit 1, notification and certification of defendant's right of appeal as State's Exhibit 2, waiver of Article 3914 disclosures as State's Exhibit 3, waiver of risk and needs assessment as State's Exhibit 4, and the PTD packets as State's Exhibit 5. State would also request defense counsel stipulate to the venue and jurisdiction of this honorable court and stipulate that the evidence that has been e-filed is sufficient to corroborate a plea of guilty.
Okay, any objections, Mr. Osuna?
No objection, Your Honor. So agreed and stipulated.
Mr. Ramos?
No objections, and we so stipulate.
Ms. Coronado?
No objection, Your Honor, so stipulated.
Mr. Munoz?
Same announcement, Judge.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Same announcement as to Mr. Pequeño.
And Mr. Moreno?
Same announcement, Judge.
There being no objections from defense counsels to the exhibits are hereby admitted and approved. In CR 20-05083-I, the State of Texas versus Brandy Diaz, it is a judgment of the court, ma'am, that you are guilty as charged. And what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state recommends a $100 fine, court costs, 6 months deferred adjudication, a drug education class, and a monthly UA.
Okay, Mr. Osuna, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, my client is 7 months pregnant. I tendered an unsworn declaration to the state as evidence of that. I don't know if there are any conditions that the court may be inclined to relax, such as maybe the drug class or the monthly UA, in light of the fact that she's pregnant and has a gigantic disincentive to use any substance whatsoever, but that would just be our request.
Okay, so Ms. Diaz, do you have any other dependents? Oh, she had gotten kicked out. She's coming back in. Ms. Diaz, I understand that you're 7 months pregnant. Is that correct?
You're on mute, Ms. Diaz.
You're on mute, Ms. Diaz.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have any other dependents?
Yes, I do have a daughter. She is 3 years old.
Okay, So I'm gonna waive her fine and waive her court costs. The drug education course, it's my understanding it's online. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, as far as the monthly UA, she'll give a monthly UA until she is hospitalized for her delivery. When she's released from the hospital, and the following month, she'll have to also give a UA because, I mean, I understand, but unfortunately and I'm not saying this is you, Ms. Diaz, but there are pregnant women that do use. So we're gonna pick it up where she left off once she delivers. Do you all understand that?
Yes,
Yes,
Judge.
Your Honor.
Okay. And I'm sure Ms. Diaz will be a responsible parent and not be doing any drugs, but it's just for our records.
Yes, sure. And the only other thing is I may have missed if we settled that CR 20-5084I would be dismissed. I don't recall if I heard that or not.
I don't think Mr. Lozano has made that announcement yet. Go ahead.
In Your Honor, the state will be dismissing CR 20-05084I, possession of inhalant, with the plea to the possession of marijuana.
Okay, Ms. Diaz, what's your phone number?
956-624-2484.
Okay, you'll receive a call from the probation department at their earliest convenience. We still have docket. And Ms. Diaz, these are drug-related offenses, so I hope that you have learned from your past mistakes, ma'am.
Yes, I have.
All right. Okay, best of luck to you, Brandy, okay?
Thank you, miss. I appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
And may I be dismissed?
Yes, ma'am, you may be excused.
Thank you.
In CR 18-04459-I, State of Texas versus Adrian Gerardo Guerra, it is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged. And what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state recommends a $100 fine, court costs, 9 months deferred adjudication, and a theft class. In exchange for this plea, the state will be dismissing CR 18-04458I, fraud, destroying, removal, concealing, writing.
Okay, Mr. Osuna, any other questions or requests on behalf of your client?
We are just simply urging the plea bargain, Your Honor.
Okay, you'll have 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court costs. The rest of the recommendation I will follow. Mr. Guerra, what is your phone number?
It is
Mr. Guerra, what's your phone number, sir?
3010.
I can't hear him. Mr. Osuna, do you happen to have your client's phone number?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
That one is 310-988-3819.
Okay. Mr. Guerra, if you can hear me, the probation department will contact you at their earliest convenience, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're dismissed.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Osuna, anything else?
I'll wait till the conclusion of the plea, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And CR 21-11016-I and in CR 20-01278-I, the state of Texas versus Daniel Iran Pequeño, it is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged on each of those offenses. What is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, on CR 21-11016I, duty on strike, the state recommends a $100 fine, court cost, 180 days Hidalgo County Jail, probated for 10 months, a theft class, and restitution of $385 to Bonnie Strickland. On CR 20-01278I, theft of property, the state recommends a $100 fine, court cost, 1 day Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 1. In exchange for these pleas, the state will be dismissing CR 20-01279I, evading arrest or detention.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
No, Judge, at this time, we're asking the court to follow the agreement.
All right. Then on CR 20-01278-I, the court is going to waive the fine and waive the court costs, and the rest of the recommendation I will follow. On CR 21-11016-I, it'll be 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court costs, and the rest of the recommendation I will follow. Did you need a restitution hearing, Mr. Lozano?
No, Your Honor, restitution set at $385 to Bonnie Strickland.
Okay. All right, what's your phone number, Mr. Pequeño?
956-479-6241.
Okay, sir, probation will contact you at their earliest convenience.
Okay,
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
All right.
day.
Likewise, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Likewise.
Okay. So we have left for the pretrial diversion placement. CR 21-06-292-I, Leroy Coronado.
Judge, excuse me, you didn't do my plea.
Oh, that's right. You're Spanish. I'm sorry.
Just real
Okay.
quick, can we excuse Mr.
And
Guerra?
Judge, I still have a plea also, Jeannie Holmes.
Yes.
I have
it's 'cause
a
we
jail
took up
case.
the ones that were here, so we're taking you up in the second group.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Rivera. Who?
Mr. Guerra, he's the one with all the feedback.
Okay, I just removed him.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. NCR 2009-369-I, State of Texas versus Julian Jaime Granados. It is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged. Ms. Castañeda?
En el estado de Texas, en contra de Julián Jaime Granados, es la sentencia de la corte que es culpable de los cargos que está acusado.
Sí, sí soy culpable.
And what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state recommends a $300 fine, court costs, 1 year Hidalgo County Jail, probated for 1 year, the repeat offender program, an ignition interlock device for 6 months, 3 days Hidalgo County Jail, and 180 days Texas driver's license suspension.
Okay, Ms. Coronado, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
Yes, Judge, on the Texas driver's license, we would ask that it would run administratively. And also, Judge, if we could waive condition number 7, Mr. Granados does travel outside of Hidalgo County to work.
Okay. Ms. Castañeda, can you tell Mr. Granados' wife to please not talk because I can hear what she's saying?
A Mr. Granados, por favor, le dice a su esposa que no hable porque la juez puede escuchar lo que está diciendo.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the court is going to give him 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court costs. His Texas driver's license suspension will run concurrent with any an administrative suspension. I'll grant his request and he'll be able to travel for work. So I'll waive condition number 7. And I don't know, Ms. Sunika, by chance, do you have a report showing who he has his device with right now?
No, Your Honor, I was not left that information.
Okay, so Ms. Castañeda, can you ask Mr. Granados who it is that he has his interlock device with?
Señor Granados, ¿con quién tiene su dispositivo de alcohol?
Todavía no me lo ponen en la troca.
They haven't put it in my truck.
He has 48 hours to get that.
Tiene 48 horas para agarrarlo.
Okay.
Ask him for his phone number.
¿Me da su número de teléfono?
Es el 897-4646.
897-4646.
Is that 956 area code?
¿Y es el área 956?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Let him know that probation will contact him at their earliest convenience. If he needs a list of vendors, they have them and he has 48 hours to get that. If he does not get it within 48 hours, he will present himself in person to me to explain why it is that he has not gotten it. And I will make a decision whether or not to incarcerate him at that time.
Okay. El departamento de probation le va a llamar, Mr. Granados, y le va a dar una lista de vendedores para que obtenga usted el dispositivo en 48 horas. Si no lo obtiene, usted va a estar frente a la corte para que le explique a la juez por qué es que no lo ha obtenido.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If nothing further, he is excused.
Se puede retirar.
Excused as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Okay, now we're going to get to the pretrial diversion. Okay, NPR 21-06-292-I, Leroy Coronado. In CR 19-1554-I, Francisco Javier Munoz, and CR 20-04-703-I, Maria Lisa Rios. Each of you have already pled guilty. However, you are requesting to be placed on the pretrial diversion program. Is that correct, Mr. Coronado?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz
Yes, Your Honor.
and Ms. Rios?
Yes, Your Honor.
Therefore, a finding of guilt will be held over to see whether or not you successfully complete the pretrial diversion program. That pretrial diversion program is a contract that you're entering into with the state of Texas. You're agreeing to comply with certain conditions of that pretrial diversion program. In exchange, the state is agreeing to dismiss the charges against you, only if you successfully complete the program. Did you understand the terms and conditions of the program as they were explained to you by your attorney? Mr. Coronado, yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Munoz, yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Diaz, yes or no? I'm sorry, Ms. Rios, yes or no?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Then was there anything on there that you cannot realistically meet? Let me see, Mr. Ramos, is there anything on there that your client can't meet?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Munoz? Mr.
No,
Jorge
Judge.
Munoz?
No, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Moreno?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then therefore, being that they can meet all the terms and conditions of the program, the court is going to place you on the pretrial diversion program and grant your request. So on Mr. Coronado, what is the next date for his hearing, Ms. Rivera?
February the 7th, 2023, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Coronado, we'll see you on February the 7th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m., sir. And
Okay.
what is your phone number?
956-595-3577.
Do you already have your alcohol monitoring device?
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you have?
Safety check,
And is that a mobile or an interlock?
mobile.
Okay. Okay, just so that you know, this court does regularly pull up violations. So if you have anything as far as violations, I will bring you in before that date, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Coronado.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ramos, anything else?
That's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, Mr. Munoz, what is your phone number?
956-534-0309.
Okay, Ms. Rivera, his next date?
August 9th of 2022, Judge.
We'll see you on August 9th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. You might be in the new courthouse by then. We'll see. All right. Anything else? Mr. Munoz, anything
Oh,
else?
sorry. Judge. No, Judge, that's all in his case, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Okay, then best of luck to you, Mr. Munoz. You'll be receiving a call from probation at their earliest convenience.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're excused. Okay, Ms. Rios, a phone number, please.
956-457-9833, Judge.
Okay, and her next court date, Ms. Rivera?
August 9th, 2022, Your Honor.
All right, we'll see you on August the 9th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m., ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, and you'll receive a call from probation at their earliest convenience.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Moreno?
Judge, did you get her phone number?
I got it.
Okay.
Thank
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
You too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I did see that Mr. Alvarez joined us and Ms. Holmes, so let me go ahead and get those. Let me see.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Ms. Holmes, you have Joe Edward Alfaro?
That's correct, Judge. He's a jail
Okay.
case, and I believe the paperwork was sent, and I got confirmation that it was e-filed. I'm out of town, unfortunately, but we were able to get that done.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Alfaro, can he be brought up? Is he English speaking or Spanish speaking?
He's English.
Okay. And then Mr. Alvarez, you have who?
I have Rafael Marquez, Your Honor.
Mr. Osuna, I apologize. We were supposed to also do Jorge Martinez, right?
Yes, Your Honor, that was gonna be my announcement. I didn't realize it till we were halfway through the pleas. I hope that Gulf still has them. I suspect they do because the court had
Yeah.
mentioned that he was gonna be brought back. And then, Your Honor,
Deputy, can you please bring Jorge Martinez up?
He was taken back, Judge.
Okay, can you call him back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I make one more announcement?
Yes.
We had a late addition add-on yesterday, but we added it right before the docket went out, so I think he might have fallen off. He is present, Mr. Huberto Avila, under LG Style 06. The paperwork has been submitted. I don't know if the court wants to entertain it now or set it for a later date. So that one is CR 20-08088I, State of Texas versus Huberto Avila. It's a time served for marijuana.
Do you have that as ready on your side, Mr. Lozano?
Your Honor, I can't find it on the docket.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be, we can take him up on Thursday, though.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge, what's the cause number? I'm sorry.
What was the cause number?
Yes, Your Honor. That one's CR 20-08088I.
Your Honor, it is ready. We could take it up right now if you'd like. I just don't see it on the docket.
I think it might have fallen off, Your
No,
Honor.
I don't think it was on the docket, but if it's ready, we can do it. What's his name?
That's
And Your
Huberto.
Honor-
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Your Honor, it was set for today, though. I see it on Odyssey, set for 2/8/2022, 1:30 p.m.
Okay, what's his name?
His name is Huberto Andres Avila.
And what's the charge?
Possession of marijuana.
Okay. And what is the recommendation?
A $100 fine, court costs, 1 day, Hidalgo County Jail, credit for one.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Avila, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, make sure you stay like that. Okay, Mr. Marquez, can you hear me? Mr. Marquez, I need for you to turn on your camera, please, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Did they bring back Mr. Martinez?
He's on his way, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, if I may?
Sure.
Judge, I just received a text message from Mr. Bustos. He did receive the wrong Zoom information, so I'm gonna be forwarding it to him right now.
Okay.
Hey, ma'am, you know how long I'm gonna be to the Zoom call? Cause I've been here like 2 hours on the Zoom call.
I can't take you up until your attorney came on. He was in another court taking care of other issues, and when he came on, we were already in the middle of other pleas, sir. So now he's on, and so now I'm gonna take you up.
Appreciate it.
We're just waiting for an inmate to come back.
Okay.
I know we've all been on here for an hour and a half. Did they find him?
He's present, Judge.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you, Jorge, for coming back. All right. So Jorge, you're still sworn in, you're still under oath, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let me have Mr. Alfaro, Mr. Marquez, and Mr. Avila, please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Alfaro, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Marquez?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Martinez, you're still under oath, so it's okay. You can all lower your hands. In CR 22-01-007-I, State of Texas versus Joe Edward Alfaro, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And in CR 21-06879-I, State of Texas versus Rafael Marquez, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
In CR 20-08088-I, State of Texas versus Humberto Andres Avila, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And then in CR 21-02443-I and CR 21-02651-I, Jorge Villa Martinez, is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Alfaro, you're before the court charged with evading arrest, detention, a Class A misdemeanor, and I'll explain shortly the range of punishment for that. In CR 21-02443-I, it's a burglary of vehicles, Class A misdemeanor against Jorge Martinez, and in CR 21-02651-I, accident involving damage to a vehicle of less than $200 or equal to a Class B misdemeanor. I'll explain shortly the range of punishment. Mr. Avila, you're being charged with possession of marijuana of less than 2 ounces, a Class B misdemeanor, sir. Mr. Marquez, you're being charged with driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor, sir. A Class A misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 1 year in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine upon conviction. A Class B misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 6 months in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand the range of punishment that you can receive for the offense or offenses of which you are charged? Mr. Alfaro, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Marquez?
Yes, ma'am.
Do each of you further understand that that all of you have the right to an attorney and the right to a trial by jury? You can waive one or both of those rights by signing a written document with the court. Mr. Alfaro, did you have an opportunity to review that document with your attorney before signing it?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Marquez.
Yes, ma'am.
And did each of you understand that when you signed that document, you were waiving your right to a trial by jury? Mr. Alfaro,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Marquez.
Yes, ma'am.
The court will accept your waiver of trial by jury. Has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane? Mr. Alfaro,
No, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
No, ma'am.
Mr. Avila,
No, ma'am.
and Mr. Marquez.
No, ma'am.
Counselors, in speaking with your clients, do you find them to be mentally competent and able to assist you in their own defense? Ms. Holmes,
Yes, I do.
Mr. Osuna,
Mr. Martinez and Mr. Avila are both competent, Your Honor.
and Mr. Alvarez.
Mr. Marquez is competent, Your Honor.
The court will make a finding that all the defendants before the court are mentally competent and able to assist their attorneys in their own defense. Do each of you understand that if the punishment that I assess does not exceed what's recommended by the state, you'll need this court's permission if you decide to file an appeal? Do you understand that, Mr. Alfaro?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Marquez,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Avila?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you further understand that the court does not have to accept the state's recommendation? Mr. Alfaro,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Marquez.
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, I need to ask you if you're a U.S. citizen. Mr. Alfaro,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Marquez.
Yes, ma'am.
In CR 22-01007-I, State of Texas versus Joe Edward Alfaro, to the offense of evading arrest, detention, and Class A misdemeanor. How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty? In CR 21-02443-I and in CR 21-02651-I, State of Texas versus Jorge Villa Martinez, to the offense of burglary of vehicles, a Class A misdemeanor, an accident involving damage to a vehicle of less or equal to $200, a Class B misdemeanor. How do you plead, Mr. Martinez, on each of those offenses? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, ma'am.
In CR 20-08088-I, State of Texas versus Humberto Andres Avila, to the offense of possession of marijuana of less than 2 ounces, a Class B misdemeanor. How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
In CR 21-06879-I, State of Texas versus Rafael Marquez, to the offense of driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Yes, ma'am. Guilty.
And are all of you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? Mr. Alfaro, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Avila,
Yes, ma'am.
and Mr. Marquez.
Yes, ma'am.
Then the court will accept your pleas as being freely and voluntarily given. I will call for state's evidence at this time.
Your Honor, state offers plea documents and offense reports as State's Exhibit 1, notification and certification of defendant's right of appeal as State's Exhibit 2, waiver of Article 3914 disclosures as State's Exhibit 3, waiver of risk and needs assessment as State's Exhibit 4. State would also request defense counsel stipulate to the venue and jurisdiction of this honorable court and stipulate that the evidence that has been e-filed is sufficient to corroborate a plea of guilty.
Any objections, counselors? Ms. Holmes,
No, Judge, there's no objections, and we so agree and stipulate to both.
Mr. Osuna,
No objection, Your Honor, on behalf of Mr. Avila and Mr. Martinez. And so
Okay.
agree to stipulate.
Mr. Alvarez,
No objections, Your Honor.
being no objections, from defense counsel as to the exhibits are hereby admitted and approved. In CR 22-01007-I, State of Texas versus Joe Edward Alfaro, it is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged. And what is the state's recommendation?
The state recommends a $100 fine, court costs, 14 months deferred adjudication, a life skills class, and 40 community service hours.
Okay, Ms. Holmes, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
Judge, I would request the court to consider waiving fine and court costs. He has been in jail for, I believe it's 8 or 9 days. I'm also asking if the court would consider a shorter term of the deferred adjudication. I believe this is he may be eligible for PTD, but I'm not quite certain, but he wanted to go ahead with the plea, and also to consider waiving the 40 hours of community service. He also needs to waive condition number 7 because he does live in Harlingen.
Okay, as to his fines and court costs, the court will grant your request and waive that. Mr. Alfaro, do you have a full-time job when you're released, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you have proof of that employment when you are released?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then as long as you are employed full-time, the court will waive your 40 CSR hours. As to the length of the deferred time period, what is the state's response?
Your Honor, we're asking for 14 months. This is his first offense. He does have 10 days jail credit.
Okay, and is that standard from the DA's office?
No, Your Honor, it's not standard.
Okay. And Mr. Alfaro, this is his first time that he's ever been arrested?
In Hidalgo County, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What other charges does he have prior to today?
Your Honor, I'm not privy to that information. I can only see what's in Hidalgo County.
Ms. Holmes, is this his first offense or has he been convicted of anything in the past?
Judge, I did not represent him on anything else but this charge.
Okay.
I believe he may have something else from other counties in the past, maybe as a juvenile or.
Oh, okay. But as an adult, Mr. Alfaro, have you had any other charges?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Yes, ma'am.
What have you had?
I have the other evading arrests.
Okay. So I'm going to waive condition number 7, but I'm going to leave the term of the deferred at 14 months. But the rest of the recommendation I will follow. Mr. Alfaro, what is your phone number?
956-335-9162.
Okay. All right. You'll receive a call from probation at their earliest convenience once you've been released.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. And you can also.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. And you can also contact probation once you're out. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Holmes. Have a safe trip.
Thank you, Judge. My excuse.
Yes.
Thank
You
you.
and your client are excused.
Thank you.
All right, and CR 21-02-443-I and CR 21-02-651-I, State of Texas versus Jorge Villa Martinez. It is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged. And what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, on CR 21-02-443-I, burglary of vehicles, the state recommends a $100 fine, court costs 1 year Hidalgo County Jail, probated for 1 year, a theft class, life skills class, and 40 community service hours. For CR 21-02-651-I, accident involving damage to a vehicle, the state recommends a $100 fine, court cost 17 days Hidalgo County Jail, credit for 17. In exchange for these pleas, the state will be dismissing CR 21-02-442-I.
Mr. Osuna, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, for CR 21-02-443-I, the burglary of a vehicle, Mr. Martinez has 16 days on the books. He spent 19 days on initial jailing and then more days when the warrant caught up with him. So we would just humbly ask for consideration on fines and court costs.
Okay. On CR 21-02-651-I, I'm going to waive fines in court, waive the fine and the court costs. The rest of the recommendation I will follow. On CR 21-02-443-I, I'm going to waive the fine and the court costs. And Mr. Martinez, do you have a full-time job when you're released?
Oh, ma'am, I did. I need to get out and find out if I still do. I'm not too sure.
Okay, if you do not have employment, then I'm going to refer you to Ms. Trejo, our unemployment specialist for the county. And I believe you can get that information from your attorney. And also, if you get full-time employment and you have proof of full-time employment, I'll waive your 40 CSR hours, but if not, you still have to do them. And the rest of the recommendation I'll follow. And what is your phone number?
956-373-8539.
Okay, best of luck to you, Mr. Martinez. You seem like a very respectful young man. I hope that things change for you when you get out.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Take care. Anything else, Mr. Osuna?
No, Your Honor, not on behalf of Mr. Martinez.
Okay, well, I apologize to you for making you wait, Mr. Osuna.
Oh, no problem, Your Honor.
Okay, on CR 20-08088-I, State of Texas versus Humberto Andres Avila, it is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged, and what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state recommends a $100 fine, court costs 1 day, Hidalgo County Jail, credit for one.
Okay, Mr. Osuna, any questions or requests on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor, we just want to state that Mr. Avila had an open parole case. Mr. Avila has informed me that that case, he will not suffer prejudice by pleading to this case on the parole case. So I just want to make sure that I put on the record that I did take that into consideration. Beyond that, we're just humbly urging the plea bargain.
Okay, then the court will give him 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court costs, and the rest of the recommendation I will follow.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Avila, best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're excused.
Thank you.
In CR 21-06879-I, State of Texas versus Rafael Marquez, it is a judgment of the court, sir, that you are guilty as charged, and what is the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the state recommends a $100 fine, court costs 180 days, Hidalgo County Jail, probated for 2 years, an alcohol class, defensive driving class, mobile alcohol monitoring device for 1 year, the MAD impact panel, 90 days Texas driver's license suspension. In exchange for this plea, the state will be dismissing CR 20-065581, CR 20-065558I. Possession of
Okay.
marijuana.
Any questions or requests on behalf of your client, Mr. Alvarez?
Honor, we just asking for any consideration, Your Honor, regarding his fines and court costs, Judge.
Okay, so Mr. Marquez, do you already have an alcohol monitoring device?
Oh, man.
Okay. So when you speak to probation, they're going to give you a list of vendors. And I need for you to get that mobile alcohol monitoring device within 48 hours. I do know that you're not local. So you need to do that as soon as possible. What is your phone number?
956 538 6631.
Okay. You'll receive a call from probation at their earliest convenience. I'm going to give you 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court costs. Your Texas driver's license suspension will, it's $100 fine plus court costs. I don't know what the court costs are. They get accumulated after the case has been processed. So you have 90 days to pay the fine, 90 days to pay the court costs. You have to get that mobile alcohol monitoring device within 48 hours. Your Texas driver's license suspension will run concurrent with any administrative suspension. And let me see. Make sure that you stay up to date with your alcohol device. If not, I do run strict consequences on violations, okay?
Ma'am, I'm not in Texas. I don't be there till next probation visit.
You're gonna have to speak to your attorney because wherever you are, they have providers for alcohol monitoring devices. There's national providers as well. So if you don't get that device, when I check up on you, I will bring you back or I'll issue an arrest warrant for you. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't mean if you're out of Texas that you're unreachable.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Alvarez, anything else?
No, Your Honor, that concludes my business with Sonoma County. That's
Okay,
good.
you might want to get with him because he's not in Texas and he's might have issues with that alcohol monitoring device, but you know how strict we are with that.
I know.
I don't have a car no more, so I don't know how would I get there, but I'll try.
It's either you stay out there and follow the rules or we bring you in here and you just serve time. Very easy. So your attorney can talk to you about that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay. So, oh, I thought I saw Mr. Osuna. I said, did I forget something else? No. Okay. Mr. Bustos, what do you have?
Judge, I got number 11 on your criminal docket, Judge, State of Texas versus Darlene Jimenez.
Okay, I don't think we have the alpha unit on anymore.
And well, I do have number 9 and 10, 8 and 9 as well, Judge.
Okay, Deputy, can you bring up Juan Dominguez, please? Mr. Dominguez, are you English speaking or Spanish speaking?
English speaking, Your Honor.
Okay, what is the announcement, Counselor?
Your Honor, I believe we're set for arraignment today, Judge. He understands the nature of the offense. He's mentally competent to proceed. Will enter a plea of not guilty to ask for the state to ask for a pretrial date, and subsequently we'd ask for the prosecutor if they could extend a plea bargain. I believe we can be able to work this out right away.
Okay, Mr. Lozano, any response to that?
1 second, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is number 8 and number 9.
Yes, Your Honor. Julian Dominguez, the state extended the paperwork to defense counsel on January 18th, 2022.
Judge, I'll get that signed right away, Judge. We have a court date next week. The court will take us in.
Okay, if he's ready for a plea for next week, we can take him on February the 15th at 1:30.
Very well, Judge.
Okay, and Mr. Dominguez, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, you're being charged with driving while intoxicated, second, a Class A misdemeanor, and a driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. Is your true and correct name Julian Gutierrez Dominguez?
It's Julian Dominguez, ma'am. No middle name, but Gutierrez.
Okay,
Yes, Your Honor.
all right. So it's Julian Dominguez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Dominguez, a Class A misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 1 year in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine upon conviction. A Class B misdemeanor carries a potential penalty of up to 6 months in Hidalgo County Jail and up to a $2,000 fine upon conviction. Do you understand that range of punishment, sir?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Has any court ever declared you to be mentally incompetent, crazy, or insane?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, your attorney has already stated that he finds you to be competent. Therefore, I will make a finding that you are competent and able to assist him in your own defense, and I enter a plea on your behalf of not guilty on each of these counts. And so we'll see you back here on February the 15th at 1:30, Mr. Dominguez.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, state has an announcement.
Go ahead.
The state's going to respectfully request a mobile alcohol monitoring device. These are subsequents. This is a DWI second.
Okay. That will be a condition, a mobile alcohol monitoring device, but right now he's going to stay in there until next week. So we'll reiterate that next Tuesday at 1:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Maybe excuse, Your Honor.
Well, I need to know what's gonna happen with Darlene Jimenez.
Judge, I believe that we can work out as well. If we can have the same court date, Judge. She's been in custody for some time already, Judge. And I believe that I can be able to work something out with the state of Texas.
Okay, I think we also have her for Thursday. Are we moving her then to Tuesday? Ms.
I would prefer, Judge, that she stay on Thursday, Judge, so we can get plea paperwork and make the trek out there and get it signed. That way we can get her out already.
Okay, Thursday at 1:30 then.
Judge,
Okay.
is there any way, Judge, we can move Mr. Julian Dominguez to Thursday as well?
We certainly can.
Thank you, Judge.
We'll go ahead and move Mr. Dominguez also to the 10th then.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Anything else?
That's it, Judge. May I be excused, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Deputy, do you have anyone else?
Yes, Judge, I have Efren Montoya and Obispo Hernandez Nava.
Okay, Obispo Hernandez is number 10 on our docket. Did we have anyone call in on that case?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Juan Tijerina called yesterday afternoon, advised that he was still trying to settle the felony MTR and he was reset to 222.
Okay, so he's reset to 222 at 1:30. And the other name, Deputy?
Montoya, Efrain.
Efrain Montoya, that's number 17 on the court's docket. Did anybody call in?
Oh, Judge.
Okay. The attorney did not make an announcement on that case, nor did he show up, Deputy. I guess, what is the setting that it shows? If somebody can tell me what, I know he has a felony pending. Does he have a setting in there?
Yes, Your Honor, he's set for March 9th, 2022.
Okay, and he's in there right now on that, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. This, and the case that you have is a motion to revoke. No, excuse me, it's a regular DWR.
Yeah. Okay,
Judge,
well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, to interrupt you. Just for clarification on the record, Judge, the court has been resetting this motion for bond reduction. I believe it was lasted in December, and so this is the second setting, Your Honor, but it has not been urged, just for clarification of the record.
Yes, it hasn't been urged the last 2 times. There has been nobody present to urge it. I guess we will reach out to see if the attorney is still on this case. If not, so he can file the appropriate paperwork. If not, since he's not set on the felony till March 9th, we'll just go ahead and set him. I'm not resetting that. I'm gonna go ahead and just set it for a status on March 10th at 1:30.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I think that's all, Deputy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And going over okay, so I have Armando Garcia's present. Mr. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your attorney has not come on.
I don't know, ma'am. I was supposed to get a monitor, alcohol monitor, ma'am. I've placed two appointments. They're by appointments, ma'am. And supposedly by Friday, one of them may have an alcohol device for me.
Who do you have your appointment with?
American Interlock with Israel. And I made another appointment with Safe Lifer here in Mission.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me it's a waiting list because it's by appointments, because it's a portable device.
Okay, what's your phone number, sir?
956-888-2746.
Okay, I'm gonna set you for a status for February the 15th at 1:30. And let's see if they were able to get you in, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Garcia, thank you for showing up.
You too, my honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care. Okay, Deputy in the female section. Deputy in the female section.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on Darlene Jimenez, we're gonna have her come back on February the 10th at 1:30. The attorney is supposed to go out there and have her signed up.
Got it, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and going back, the ones that I don't have that have did not make an announcement, nor were present. Number 34, number 36. Was number 36 reset after all?
Yes, Judge, to the 24th.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so number 34, and that's it. Can you please call that name out, Mr. Damian?
Yes, ma'am. Kevin Alexander Reyna. Kevin Reyna. Kevin Reyna.
Okay, that name being called out 3 times and no response. What says the state?
Your Honor, state requested a judgment NICE be granted, a KPS issued, and all bonds forfeited for this no-show defendant.
That'll be so granted. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, nothing from the state.
Okay, that concludes this afternoon's docket.